Hello and welcome to Take Me Through Your Day. On this episode, we have a chemical researcher, and if you're keeping track, this is our first full episode back after COVID. So strap in, we got a bunch of really interesting ones coming up. This episode's from a few years ago, maybe two and a half, something like that. But very entertaining. I think you guys will like it, and it's all still relevant. So that being said, if you or someone you know would like to be on the show, please email us at TakeMeTYD@gmail.com or visit us at TakeMeTYD.com. Enjoy the show. What do you do for a living?
Me? I do chemistry research for, I guess it's called the company.
Okay. Can you tell me just a little bit about the general idea of what you do? Because we're going to get into the details later, but just...
General idea is how do I make things the temperature they're not supposed to be, but we want them to be, whether it be through like fridges and freezers or home insulation or things of that nature.
So real practical applications.
Yeah, it's stuff that I do you will see like in stores in the future. Like the first project I had when I worked there was we were developing a new automotive refrigerant, and it's going to replace all the 134A in cars in the next 10 years or so. Like a lot of cars now have it in there.
Oh, sweet.
And now I'm working on taking that technology and incorporating it into like insulation stuff.
All right, let's start with high school. In high school, did you know what you wanted to do?
I kind of had a general idea, so I was always kind of like a sciencey, mathy kind of person. Like I did well in school and in those kind of things. And I kind of picked chemistry because I felt like it was the only one that wasn't lying to me from the beginning. Because, like, I mean, bio just seemed like a lot of memorization and Latin stuff and, like, things that you just seemed like useless memorization. Yeah. And then physics was, like, kind of cool, but then, like, also, like, we lied to you about all this stuff. There's, like, here's air friction and drag and, like...
What do you mean they lie to you about stuff?
So, like, you learn, like, at the most basic level, they kind of, like, teach you, like, things about physics. Like, you know, if you throw the ball at this angle, at this force, it's going to go this far in the distance and whatnot. And then, like, you get to, like, a college-level course, and, like, everything you learn in high school is kind of cool, but, like, we're going to disregard all of it and start from scratch again. And you're like, oh, I've made a horrible mistake.
I see.
And chemistry was always just like, if you mix this thing with this thing, this purple thing will come out every single time without fail. And if it doesn't, that means that one of those two things you mixed together wasn't the thing you thought it was.
I definitely get the appeal.
Yeah, so it's like from the beginning, I was just like, this is kind of cool. It's like you can predict what's supposed to happen, and it's gonna happen. And then if it doesn't, it's because you didn't like think of something else.
Yeah, there's some error somewhere down the line. Now, when you say you chose that, you mean like in high school you leaned into it, or you chose it like to go into college and pursue it?
I knew I was going to do some kind of chemistry when I went to college. Like I had the debate of like chemical engineering versus chemistry for a little bit, and then like when I was on tour at Penn State, and they actually give you the option if you like tell them early enough in advance. They'll set up a meeting with like a professor in one of the departments, and they'll talk to you for a little bit. Yeah. And I actually talked to a chemical engineering professor and a chemistry professor, and it kind of like...
Oh, so that
actually really helped me, yeah. Because like chemical engineering, like there's no... I mean, you have to know a lot of the chemistry, but it's mostly like how do I make this plant work better or stuff like that. It's like moving product through like different things.
But I imagine that's a huge resource to like really dial in.
Oh yeah, it's insanely helpful too.
Yeah.
Awesome. I was also thinking about it because if you look at like starting salaries upon graduation, chemical engineering is always like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it. Which I think I made the right choice because every chemie I knew in college was miserable all the time. So.
Well, there you go. Then you made the right choice.
So when I started there, I was actually pharmaceutical chemistry. That's what I thought I was going to do. Mm-hmm. And then I ended up just pure luck. The guy that they gave me to be my like random advisor was a biochem professor at Lehigh, and he gave me like he just said, "Hey, if you want to try this, like just come work in my lab one day a week. We'll give you a credit for it and see if you like it." And then I took 1 credit one semester, and then I took 6 credits every semester until I graduated because I just liked it.
Huh. Well, see, that's awesome, and that's exactly what I try to find about the shows, like just getting people to what they like. any people who enjoy the career path that they want to go down. And it seems like you kind of found that.
Just a long string of just dumb luck landed me where I probably should be anyway.
Yeah, that's absolutely fantastic. So I guess we can kind of blast through the whole college experience because it seems like you kind of nailed it. Unless you want to add something in there for someone who kind of wants to get into this field, like some advice maybe.
I guess I do more of like your typical like research stuff. So I like when you think of a scientist, that's what I do. Like I wear like a white lab coat and I'm like mixing things in beakers and whatnot and like working in a hood. Like that's like most of what I do. I mean, it's weird because it's like R&D and it's insulation. So we're like I'll be like making fake wall studs and fake rooms and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, it's like if you think you want to do that kind of stuff, talk to any professor at as long as you're not at like a community college, or if you're at like a research place, any professor will take on anybody for like a credit. You come in for like 3 hours like once a week, and then you see if you like it. You'll be doing a lot of the like bitch work, but like you'll get an idea. You'll be like science adjacent as you're like pHing buffers and like mixing up like stock solutions for like other people to actually use. And it gets you kind of like a feel of like what the flow of the day is actually going to be. And a lot of people run things differently. Like our professor like bought like these really nice Bose speakers and mounted them up on the thing. We actually would just take turns playing music throughout the whole day. So like it's usually like people are pretty cool about it.
That's awesome.
And like a lot of it is like you end up BSing a lot like while you're actually in the lab, because a lot of it's like set this stuff up and then like leave it for 2 or 3 hours and then like come back and like hope it's finished, and like you learn a lot of like how to like manage your time and stuff like that. But any professor will take anyone on for like just talk to somebody. Just find any professor. Take the guy that was in your first year chem class and ask him if he's taken on undergrads for like, just random time slots. And then if he doesn't, someone else will. It's
or he'll know.
That's kind of the point of the research facility is to get the research done. And like that to me, like just talking to my advisor ended up making me do it for 6 credits every semester, and he actually hired me on for the summers.
Oh,
sweet! Yeah, I got like a $5,000 grant to like live there for like 10 weeks and like do research. It was kind of cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so let's say at the end of college you graduate. Can you take us from that point to where you're working now?
So what happened is I actually got my job Thanksgiving of my senior year, like before I even graduated.
Oh, okay.
Because I guess a lot of the companies now are like recruiting earlier and earlier because they want the people right away. They want to be like somebody's first choice. They don't want to like be scrambling for the people that couldn't find jobs in May or June or something like that. So like what happened is like either I found that at least in like my head, career fairs are mostly just for the business people.
Yeah.
They don't, I mean, my company does do some of that, but it's mostly for like marketing interns and like accounting interns. It's not like, they're not like picking up like science people at these like
those things
fairs.
are very specific to very...
Because like my college had them, and I like went to a few of them like when I was like a junior and a senior looking for like internships and jobs and stuff. I looked around, it's just like, the only one here that's taking applications from my major is like Bank of America, because I don't really care what you're doing. And you're like, well, like... Okay, fine. But what ended up happening is my school's chemistry department had like this program or whatever. They had people come in and like visit and talk about their company.
Yeah.
So like I just happened to I got an email one day like that they blasted anyone that was like a chem major or something and said, "Hey, we have someone coming in from like DuPont to like give a talk. It's an old alumni. Just go out and see what it's like." And I went. She did like a 45-minute presentation, took questions at the end. I just talked to her, and she said, "Yeah, just gave me your cards, email me your resume, and I'll add you to the list of people we're gonna like try to interview." And that's just like kind of how it happened. I got 2 weeks after that, I got a phone call from someone there, and we did like a quick phone interview. 2 weeks after that, they booked me a hotel room and actually rented me a car.
Wow!
And I drove down for a night, stayed at the hotel, and then like did my interview and then drove home.
But that's showing some pretty serious interest.
Yeah.
Like, we're in.
Because I was actually gonna go to grad school. Like my professor was like kind of shopping me around to like look at different schools. We went to like a conference. I met some of his old professors at like like other schools. He said like you should do this. I actually took the GREs, and I was gonna use like the Christmas break to like do all the applications and stuff. But I got this job offer, and I was just like, I think I have to take this.
Yeah.
So I had like a line. I was like, if someone's willing to pay me this, I can be in 6 years where an entry level PhD chemist would be anyway. And they like beat it, so I was like, all right, fine. Like it was like one of those, just like, yep, I'm in. See you guys in like 6 months.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah,
That's I get like a pretty good string of luck.
I got like stupid lucky. Now I had to move to Delaware, but you know.
Yeah, I mean it comes with it.
Yeah.
Whatever, but I think that's a great place to start with the actual show, which is taking me through your day. So, what time do you wake up in the morning?
Well, here's the thing with research is that it's pretty independent for the most part, unless you're working on like, because we have some equipment and processes that we actually just bought a new spray foam machine that requires 2 people to actually operate.
Yeah.
But most of it's like pretty independent. So like our research people have like core hours.
Okay.
So like we have to be there from 10 to 2.
Yeah.
And that's when they'll schedule all the meetings. Like if we have like a group meeting or like a safety thing or whatever, like it'll be in that time frame.
Chunk. And that is a nice little chunk of
So
time.
I have coworkers that show up at 6 a.m. and leave at 2, and I have coworkers that show up at 10 a.m. and leave at 6.
Yeah.
And like
That's what I mean. That's a great little chunk
Yeah.
of time where it's kind of whatever you're doing, you're going to fall into that.
Yeah, so it's like that's the time where you're guaranteed the whole team's going to be there if not on vacation and all that kind of stuff. And so it depends if I like want to get out. Like if I'm like when I was driving down here, I went into work at 6 a.m. so I could leave at 2 and be past all the traffic in Philly and Harrisburg before it was even like an issue.
It should be stated that we're in West Virginia right now.
Yeah,
Most
yeah.
of the episodes are not in
In
well, I
West
mean, they're
Virginia.
all around
Yeah.
the same states, but yeah.
So it really depends. So like if I don't have anything going on afterwards, I'll just lazily wake up at like 8, try to get in by 9, and then go about my day.
All right. Well, can you, because it seems like there are a lot of different variances in what you're doing. Is there a way to kind of encapsulate an average day?
Ooh, yeah. So it's like, I mean, every day it's research. Like projects get picked up and scrapped pretty quickly sometimes. So it's like not always the same, but I guess from what the company hopes a typical day might be, I guess I can bring you through.
Okay. Well, let's go with that. Let's say just general idea, typical day, and if variances come across or you think of anything down the line, let's go from there. What time are you waking up in the morning?
Probably like 8:30.
8:30. You set an alarm clock?
Yeah.
Is it on your phone? You have a...
I have a Google Home that I set to play the radio.
Hmm?
And I have to mute the mic because if I don't actually get out of bed, I will just yell, "Hey Google, snooze," and then like never actually get out of bed.
Hey, the future.
I think there's one day last week where I think I snoozed the alarm every 10 minutes from like 7 to like 8:30, and then had like an oh shit moment, and then like got up and ran to work.
All right, so let's say you set that alarm and you get up on time. What's your morning routine? What do you get done? You get up out of bed and, well, what are your first moves? Because usually I ask the snooze question, but you answer that for me. But you get up out of bed and what's your first kind of moves?
I go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
I take a multivitamin.
Okay.
I usually grab something quick, be like a banana or like a granola bar or something, and actually drive with that to work.
Okay.
Because at work we get free coffee. So usually what I'll do is when I sit down at my desk, usually around 9, I'll open my computer, check my emails, make sure there's no like fire to put out.
Yeah.
And then I'll go to like the break room, make myself a coffee and eat that real quick and like kind of plan my day out because it does change a lot.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense with the constant changing. But let's go back to where you're living and you leave. What's your commute time like?
Because where I live is pretty close to a lot of like bigger cities. Like a lot of my coworkers will live in Philadelphia because it's it's under an hour to get to where we work with that. But I kind of decided that it was more worth my time to make that maybe hour drive to Philly. The like once a week I want to actually do it rather than make it twice a day
Every day.
every day.
Yeah.
So I live 4 miles from work, and it takes me about 8 minutes to get there.
8 minutes. That's an excellent commute.
It's perfect.
During that commute, are you listening to anything?
I am.
What are you listening to?
I kind of bounce around. So
let's get a little spectrum.
Some days it's NPR,
Okay.
which was helpful because last year I went to Ireland, and right when I drive to work is the BBC's news hour.
Yeah.
So I get all the like Northern Ireland news like on my way to work.
There you go.
Sometimes the alt rock station in Philly does no commercials for like the like 8 to 10 range.
Oh, the drive time radio.
Yeah, so like if I don't like the story in NPR, I usually go to that.
All right.
And those are kind of my two staples. If a band I like just released a CD, I'll have that in, and I'll just listen to that like all the way through as I'm driving back and forth to work until I like.
You got any names you want to drop?
The last one I bought was Gary Clark Jr.'s, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so I had tickets to see him when he came to Philly like a month or so ago, and with each ticket you got a CD, so I had one in my car.
That's really sweet. I've never heard of that before. You get a ticket and a CD?
Oh, Metallica did that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
so,
I mean, the Metallica, when they came to Pittsburgh, those tickets were insane.
So I actually got in the day they got sold. So I called the ticket office.
Yeah.
It was like $110, but they sent me a CD, so it felt like
Yeah, it felt
more like I paid $90. I don't know, but the show was worth it though. Like the production.
I heard it was good.
like,
I had
crazy.
a few buddies that went. It was awesome.
But yeah,
they
so
say.
sometimes CDs. It depends.
Okay.
I usually start with NPR and then go from there.
Yeah, and bounce around. So you get in the office. Is this a place where you have parking, or is it?
Yeah, so it's actually a big gated complex.
Okay.
So at the time, DuPont, they work with a bunch of experimental chemicals, a bunch of high hazard processes. So it's actually like badge access.
Yeah.
So I have to like swipe my badge at a thing, and a turnstile opens, and then I'm like let into the site.
Makes sense.
And then there's like probably 30 buildings on the site. They're now mixed up of like a variance of like DuPont and spin-off companies at this point. But yeah, so it's like my desk is physically in a lab.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're right in there.
Like,
so okay, let's go.
like when you watch like NCIS and you see Abby sitting at a desk, like a computer with like a bunch of like beakers and shit to like her left and her right. Like that's me. That's
right.
like that's what my office looks like.
Oh, that's pretty cool. So you park your car, you get into your office. You said you make a coffee, eat whatever you bring.
Yeah.
What are some of the first tasks of the day?
So now, since I'm working primarily with foam insulation, one of the big things is how does it degrade over time? So the main thing with thermal, there's two different kinds of polyurethane foam. There's open cell and closed cell.
Yeah.
Also, it could be called soft and hard.
Okay.
So that's not entirely. There are some rigid open cell, but most of them are
Generally speaking.
so like your car seats, your couch cushions, your Tempur-Pedic mattresses, they're all open cell flexible foam.
Yeah.
Those are mostly like blown with like water or something like that because it's cheap and it's available. But what we do is we make rigid closed cell, and we make what's called the blowing agent or expansion agent. What it is it's like a high energy, either liquid or gas, but like will volatilize in the temperature range of the reaction, and it actually like makes the foam expand as it heats. It kind of just blows the whole thing up. It's like stretching the web of polymer that's being made.
So you're saying like on a spectrum, like basic stuff like beds, and it's water, and then you're going up this. Am I getting this right?
Going up in price and thermal properties and all that.
Yes.
Because because a lot of it's fluorine based right now, and getting fluorines to attach to hydrocarbon chains is not an energetically favorable reaction. So it takes a lot of energy and a lot of money and a lot of intellectual property. So they get more expensive.
Yeah.
But the thing is they make it so much more like better at insulating. So what we're trying to do is like it does two things. It helps the foam expand, and it also gets trapped inside the closed cells. So it's like you have like a little mini like tiny like air conditioner at each little bubble.
Okay.
Because the molecules, they're heavy, they're fat, they're gases, but they don't transfer heat well because it takes a lot to get them moving.
Okay.
So it makes a nice like thermal barrier. That's basically
fascinating.
So and a big thing though is that sometimes the gases are soluble in like the matrix of the foam.
Yeah.
And over time they will slowly leave.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense if it's a gas and it's in whatever the foam. I don't know. I'm talking about gas.
So like basically like we're trying to invent something that is not so soluble that it becomes part of the matrix, but not so insoluble that we can't at least suspend it in the solution for the duration of the reaction.
That makes sense.
So, like, one of the big things is when water reacts with the isocyanate, it creates CO2, which is a great insulator. But the thing is it's insanely soluble and it leaves quickly. So, like, within, like, the first 6 months of you making the foam, like, all the CO2 is gone.
Yeah.
Which is why we don't use it for thermal stuff. We use it a little bit because it kind of helps with the oomph, but mostly it's fluorine-based stuff. So we're trying to, like... And one thing that we do with it is we have to test it to see like how quickly it is or isn't degrading in thermal properties. So I have a huge humidor closet that is just full of like all of the cut foam samples that I've made in the last like depending on like what like method you're running. Sometimes you have to test them like every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's once a month, but you do it for like an X amount of time.
Well. Just a completely ignorant side note, like when you test the degradation, do you have to always do that in real time, or is there a way to accelerate to figure that out?
So this is the thing. So everyone is trying to figure out the best way to do it from our side.
Yeah.
The people making the things don't want that to happen because if you test it the day it's made, it's the best it's ever going to be.
Yeah, no doubt.
So it's like a constant struggle between the people like putting out the info and like doing the research in the industry and the people that are actually trying to sell the stuff. Because there's all kinds of building codes that like there's actually not a lot of people know this because it's a very like kind of niche industry, but there are I think 8 or 9 zones in North America. And based on what zone you're in, it's like kind of gently based off climate. But that will dictate how much like insulation the architect has to spec into the building that they're making.
Interesting.
So what they do is it's called R value. I don't know really where that comes from, but R value is basically like its ability to cool per inch. So, like, you'll say, like, oh, if you're in southwestern Pennsylvania, that's, zone 6, you got to have at least an R value of 14. And say I sell a foam that's R value 7 per inch, you'd have to install 2 inches of foam.
Oh, okay. So you can just double down and make the same.
But it could be 7 the day you make it, but it could be 5 in 2 years, So, like, technically you're not in spec, and it kind of shortchanges the person that eventually buys the thing because it takes more energy to heat it and yada 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 yada.
Very complicated.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So because it doesn't help the people that make it to use the end value because then people are spraying more of their stuff in the houses. It takes away square footage in the house, makes everything a little bit smaller. Also, it uses more product. It's more expensive. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah, sounds like a lot.
So what we do is we have these little machines called heat flow meters. And it has a little heating unit, and it's attached to a chiller. And it has 2 plates. And usually what we do is we make our foams in I go to a bakery supply store, and I buy cake boxes.
Okay.
I coat the inside of the thing with car wax.
You mean like cardboard cake boxes?
Yeah, cardboard cake boxes. And I coat the outside with car wax. I fold it up, and I made a rig out of plywood that holds the box vertical and in place, so that the foam can't, like, pop the box open and all that.
Yeah.
We pour it into that, and then we come back in 24 hours, and I actually cut it down to size in a bandsaw.
Yeah.
based on what we're doing, there's like a bunch of different things you might need. So like if I'm doing like our whole gauntlet of testing, I'll make like 4 or 5 of them, and then cut each one to like specific things. But the big one is the heat flow meter. That's where you find out your R value. That's where you find out the insulation value. That's how you find out like how bad. Like if it doesn't pass that, doesn't matter what the rest of it is. So it's like a little machine. It has a heater and a chiller, and there's 2 plates. We put the cut foam in the middle of it. The plates touch till there's no space in between the 2 of them. And then we tell the machine based on if it's going to be in like a refrigerator or freezer, or like some of them go into like liquid nitrogen tanks, or if it's going to be in a house. There's like standards based on each division of what you make the top plate and the bottom plate temperature-wise.
Yeah.
And then the machine figures out how much energy inputted into the hot end it takes to keep it at the temperature it wants to be.
Okay.
With the only thing in between them being your foam.
Yeah.
So then you basically, like you said, to like room temp and what the inside of your fridge is supposed to be, or like outside and room temperature for if it's going to be on like a roof or in a wall.
Is it as simple as, because like in my head I'm just thinking of like an oven type of scenario. Can you just put in the specific numbers of like this is this cold, this is this hot?
It looks like somebody shrunk one of those oblong pizza ovens.
Oh, okay.
And I have like a little of it, you put it in the oven and then you shut it and then like it just goes.
Wow.
And then we have things that are different sizes for different things and all that.
That's fascinating.
So basically what happens is like based on what project I'm running, I actually have like a little calendar next to my desk where I physically write in when I started each one, so I know that like on Tuesday I gotta run the ones from this trial and this trial and this trial, and Wednesday I do it, and that machine pretty much just runs all day long.
That's awesome. That's exactly what I was looking for. So we're just because I could talk about that stuff all day because I'm just looking at you like dead-eyed, like, yeah, more, But you get to work, you make your coffee, you get to your desk, and then you're essentially checking all of these boxes of like...
Make sure I don't miss anything.
What date is this? What do I have to check now? What date is this? What do I have to check now? Is there any other kind of activities you're doing in that time period? I'm just trying to take up to when you show up to essentially lunch.
Okay, so another thing...
On an average day, again.
So another thing I do is I deal a lot with, like, shipping.
Okay.
Like, I'm a hazmat shipper, and, like, I just got picked one day to be, like, our customer sample person.
All right.
So, like, what we'll do is we end up doing a lot of, like, parallel research. So we'll talk to either customers or suppliers or something, and we'll say, like, hey, we're trying to launch this new product. Can you let us know if it's compatible with all of your stuff? Or, like, hey, we have a problem with this. They're discontinuing this product, and we need to find a solution.
Okay.
So, like, I'll end up either, like, coordinating shipping samples to them, depending on, like, what country they're in and all that kind of stuff. Or they send us stuff, and we get to, like, play around with it. Okay. So, like, if you go into my lab, it looks like a kitchen pantry. There's, like, 1,000 different bottles, and they're all, like, like proprietary catalysts and surfactants and, like, just, like, all the ingredients that you could possibly use to make a foam. Some of them are used in different industries and others. Some of them do, like... They're all kind of like geared towards like specific parts of like the reaction. There's like the rise, the blow, the like the fin in the end, and like you kind of like, all right, this catalyst does like just this bit, but like a little bit of this too. And we're kind of lacking here, so we throw in a little bit of that. And so like what I will do is I'll like kind of check the emails, see like what kind of projects I have to work on, and then maybe just like shop out like what kind of combinations of things I want to try.
But you're still dealing with all these customers on like a shipping basis?
Yeah, so like what we end up doing is like we ship them some of our stuff, they ship us some of their stuff. We do some kind of parallel research and then compare notes at the end.
Okay, so it's all kind of on the level. You're all just peers.
Yeah, pretty much.
So it's not like some weird company that's like, hey, I know you guys got that thing.
Like no one company makes all parts of the foam.
Okay.
So we make just the blowing agent because we're a fluorine-based unit because we realized way back in the day that you could put Freon in foams.
Yeah.
and somebody else does all the catalysts, somebody else will do all the surfactants and solubilizing agents, someone will make the polyols, someone will make the isocyanates, and no one wants to expand it to anybody else's industry because then it hurts a lot of people's feelings and lose business.
You're all kind of working together as a big web of... Oh, that's awesome.
So it's like it's an interesting industry because no one's top to bottom integrated in anything.
No, it's very interesting.
And no one's ever heard of us in the market space because we don't sell directly to customers. We sell to the suppliers who mix it into a thing and then they sell that.
Brilliant.
We have to, like, our marketing team fights with people to say, like, blown with our, like, our stuff, like, somewhere on the label.
Yeah, but you're staying out of the direct contact with... Yeah, it's fantastic. So
one thing that I will do in the morning is if I'm making a foam in the afternoon, now I deal with spray foam. Spray foam has to react violently and quick because if you're spraying like a roof or something like that, you don't want it to drip onto, whoever's face is trying to spray it in.
Yeah.
So when I make them in, there's two ways you can make it. You can either reduce the catalyst package so it reacts more slowly, but I kind of figured out that doesn't make a nice mimic for when you scale up to doing the actual process.
Yeah, large scale.
So what I do is I take the actual like recipe, I make it to the correct proportion, and then I put it in the fridge while I'm at lunch. So it reacts. It starts at like a colder temperature. I have like an extra 2 seconds to pour into the cake box before it blows up in my face. And that has happened. Every once in a while you'll see like someone just like they're just like covered in foam because they just like accidentally like either drop the beaker because we use like a Hamilton Beach like milkshake mixer.
Really?
Yeah, that we had somebody coat in Teflon. We make it in the beaker, we put it up on that, and then you kind of you dump it. But if you don't do it fast enough, it kind of like you'll the inside like shut the hood hash, and then like it's like everywhere.
Brilliant. Now is that intense where you have to hit one of those like chemical burn stations where you gotta smash your eyes with water? And...
It depends what part of the process you're in because
so it's not a no.
So this stuff does end up in people's homes.
Yeah.
So it is the end result is safe.
Okay.
If you eat that, it'd be like eating celery. It's no caloric value. It'll clean out your colon on the way out, and like that'll be it. But everything that goes into it is hit or miss because I mean like. One end, like, it's two main things reacting. It's polyols, which is just... Polyol is just a molecule that has a bunch of OHs on it. So, like, ethanol is, like, a single all.
Yeah.
Polyols are just, like, they're, like, long branch things. You can make them in several different ways. But it's those reacting with cyanide groups and isocyanates, and that's what makes the web. So, like, you have these branch things with OH groups that are reacting with the NCOs on the isocyanate, and that's what like makes your web of stuff.
Yeah.
So like,
which by web you mean like the foam?
It's like a polymer, yeah. Like if you could look at it like under a microscope as it's forming, it's like webby. It's like there's like a bunch of different things. They're all cross-linked together and that kind of stuff. So it's like. So you hear cyanide, you're like, well, this is not...
Yeah, that doesn't sound great to get in your eyes.
It's not... It's your face. It's an inhalation hazard. Like, it's a sensitizer. So, like, if you, like, were to snort some of this stuff, you won't be able to be in a room with it ever again.
Wait. What?
Yeah, so it's like...
What does that mean?
So, it sensitizes you to itself. It's kind of like if you get chicken pox, you can get shingles kind of thing. Oh, it's like if you huff a bunch of isocyanate... It's not going to do anything to you then. Yeah. But the next time someone opens up a can of isocyanates, like, in the same room as you, you'll, like, break out in hives or something like that.
Oh, Jesus. Okay.
Like,
I get it. That's
we
crazy.
actually have someone like, not our group, but in, like, I shared the other half of my building is the Teflon group.
Yeah.
Like, they're, like, coating pans and stuff like that. Yeah. And one of them was sensitized in a previous job. So anytime that we're, like, making, like, the foams or moving the isocyanates around, we have to put, like, a big plaque up over the room. Like,
like, hey.
Like, Jeff, don't come in here. Like, that's, like...
Love it. Just like, Jeff, you... Beat it.
Well, we can't put that. I mean, really, no one should be an alien. So they did some things to make it better. So they kind of polymerized it more so that it's less volatile. Like the ones that the OG ones they used were like kind of near a gas.
Yeah.
So like you don't want to be anywhere near this stuff. Like closed containers inside the hoods. Like maybe even like using those little things where you put like the gloved hands into the box and work with it that way.
Intense.
But now they kind of polymerize it. Like the only way that like you could really sensitize yourself now is if you just like washed your hands with it or like stuck your head in the bucket and took a big whiff. You know.
Don't stick your head in the bucket. You take anything away from this.
Yeah, I really stopped eating random things after, working in science long enough. Because you're like, everything is dirty and it's going to kill me. And it's just like... Because like a lot of the catalysts end up also being like kind of poison. Yeah. So it's like, don't like... I think one time one of my coworkers told me I wasn't labeling things well enough. They're like, well, what if someone like walked in? So I like sarcastically wrote like, do not drink on a bunch of the stuff for like a week or so just to piss her off. Like, don't consume.
Do not consume.
Not
this is
water.
A lab.
Yeah, it's like it's like you walk around the building and there's fridges that say like no food, no food, no food. Please don't put your food in here. Like this microwave is for chemicals. Stop.
This
like
is not.
Don't reheat your burrito in the lab. That's just dumb.
All right, well, speaking of burritos, you did mention that you would toss I forget what you said, in while you would take your lunch break.
Yeah.
What are you doing for lunch? What time are you taking it, and what are you doing?
It depends on the day. Usually sometime between 11:30 and noon, I'll step out, and it depends. If I got to the grocery store on Thursday, I will have things for lunch, and I live close enough that I will actually drive home, make myself some lunch, and go back to work. Good. Now, if I was lazy and didn't go grocery shopping on Sunday, like I know I'm going to do now, because I'm going to drive 5.5 hours home, I'd be like, fuck the grocery store, I'm done.
Yep.
Then I'll kind of go somewhere. There's like a couple different like restaurants and stuff around that, like when you have that many people working on one industrial site, they have a lot of like
a whole bunch of
quick lunch places that are around that like are trying to attract everybody.
What are some quick go-tos? Like, what are your? I don't want to think about it. I just want to grab lunch. What do you?
There's a pizza place across the street. It gives 2 slices and a drink for $4.
Oh yeah.
There's a Wendy's nearby. There's this taco place that sells like $1.75 tacos.
That ain't bad.
That place is pretty good. It depends. Fridays, the most of the group will go out to lunch together, and we'll go to someplace that's like longer and like sit down. Like we'll go to like a sushi place or like even like the Applebee's. It doesn't really matter. We're not picky.
Applebee's not so sweet.
We're not picky.
It's Delaware. I understand.
There's a cool like barbecue place that's nearby. Like we'll go to and
there you go.
We once went to a Korean barbecue place where you like the ones where you like have like the stove in the middle of the table and all that.
Oh, like a shabu shabu.
Yeah, we went to one of those.
Oh, that's not Korean. What am I thinking of? The Korean.
You're thinking of like it has like the little like you cook it yourself, but like it's not hibachi.
Yeah.
There's like a hot plate at the center of the table.
Yeah, shabu shabu is like Japanese, and Korean barbecue has
I don't know the name of it.
For it.
I don't know.
There is a name for it. But anyway,
enough people were confused by that we just haven't gone back since. Like, what do you mean my meat's raw?
What do you mean I gotta cook my own shit? Anyway,
it does make the lunch a lot longer when you have to cook your own meat.
Yeah, no doubt.
So if you're in a hurry, you might give yourself some food poisoning.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, it's a good business model because then you can't sue the place for serving you bad meat.
It's like, hey, you did that, bro. That's on you.
They didn't make us sign a waiver though. I feel like that's a hazard, right? If I like eat the raw meat and like get sick, like can I sue them for that? We're very off topic.
You can go to those. I love a good digression. There's that Mongolian place that's around. I think it's kind of a chain. You just pick up all the raw meats yourself, put them in a bowl. It's like,
is there some kind of like sign on the door that says by entering you are like signing away your right to sue us for consuming raw or undercooked meat?
I want to say yes, because like what's stopping some dummy from just like grabbing a piece of meat?
I don't know.
From the place where you put the uncooked stuff.
It's like you'd think natural selection would have taken care of those people by now, but
you'd think so.
But like if you ever go to like a pirate game or something, if you look at the back of the ticket, it says that like I will not sue the pirates if someone launches a foul ball into my forehead.
Yeah,
like
if I'm unconscious from a foul ball, we have no you waive all your rights.
Well, that happened to a woman last year at the pirate game. She was an idiot and she was in the first row behind home plate and she got up during a pitch.
Yep.
And like the net is there to not kill you, but it has a little bit of give, and she was like rubbing against the net and she's trying to leave and it just nailed her. Foul tip nailed her.
Well,
you can't sue the Pirates for that.
It was like 4 months ago that kid got hit with a foul ball. Well, that was I think that might have been a Cardinals game or something like that. I forget who it was. But yeah, the media kind of went quiet after that. It's
Yeah.
like, well, you signed your rights away, but that's a little kid that got hit with a foul ball and got pretty fucked up.
Yeah, maybe I think that's the biggest hazard. It's that baseball is sometimes so boring you stop paying attention, and then you're
Yeah.
liable to get nailed.
And you just get creamed.
Maybe there should be like a foul ball cannon they let off. Like everybody, anytime there's a foul ball, like the scoreboard says "look up," and then
Or just like a horn.
it's like some kind of noise, like oh shit,
Oh, wait, what?
some kind of like air raid
air
siren
raid
would
siren.
be kind of funny.
It's coming. It's coming willy-nilly. You better watch out. Exactly. All right. So, I mean, you put a big chunk of your day right there in the front. So, you come back from lunch. I mean, is it business as usual, or is there anything else to kind of add to that? And again, keep in mind, this is for people that would like to get into this field. Is there anything you'd want to like add, advice-wise or story-wise, or?
So I mean, it depends. Like usually, if I put the stuff in the fridge before I left, my big thing when I get back will be to like kind of just react them all out, and then the next day you come in and you do the cutting and you start all the testing. We test it for like how much of it is actually closed. We have like a little, it's like a tiny wind tunnel.
Oh, okay.
That like you tell it how much it weighs, and how we usually do like a 1-inch cube, and you enter the dimensions that we like measure and everything, and it actually blows nitrogen through the chamber and then measures how much resistance it has on the other end. It can tell you like if you have Swiss cheese or like a block of foam.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet.
We have another machine that all it does is just tries to squish the shit out of it, and we call it compressive strength, because like it has to, because some of these foams go on roofs that like, because it creates like a moisture barrier and a thermal barrier, so like it can actually fix your like crappy tar roof if you want. It's an expensive go around, but it does work because it's closed cells, so no water's getting in, so it'll fix any leak you have and it'll expand to fit all the space.
I've never heard of that on the outside, but that's fascinating.
It's because it's expensive.
I bet. I've seen a lot of those commercials.
No rental property. Rhino Lines actually is a company we work with.
Yeah, see,
Yeah, I've been to one of their facilities. They have one in. I was in Kansas City. I flew out there. We actually did a joint project where we were trying to help them figure out a formula that would pass a burn test, because they have to pass, because they're going to be in someone's house.
Yeah.
They have to be able to pass like. It's like a long story, but they create essentially a fake corner in a room with a roof, and they light like a plant on fire in the corner, and then like you have to like the smoke can't leave the room for the first like 20 or 30 seconds, and the flame can't progress to the ceiling, and yada yada yada. But what we ended up doing is I made a bunch of like the formula we had kind of like set up inside, like I did it on small scale in cake boxes.
Yeah.
And since we don't have a lot of the larger equipment because we're a lab, we're not an installer, I made it in like 30-gallon drums. If you ordered a bunch of the extra stuff, I mixed it together in like 30-gallon drums, and we shipped it ahead of ourselves to their facility. And when we got there, the first thing we did was we rented a truck. We went to a Home Depot. We bought a bunch of like 12x8 like sheetrock boards, and we bought a bunch of 2x4s, and we like spent the first day making fake walls, basically. I actually have some pictures I can show you. We just made a bunch of...
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'd love some.
We made a bunch of fake walls. Then we loaded the formula I did into the machine, and we sprayed like it was the studs of a house. We like set it up against a wall. We kind of sprayed the whole thing down. It was January. We did it. We were in Kansas City in January, so half of them we put outside to get really, really cold overnight, and then spray them cold to see if like... Because sometimes that happens. You'll see like things like delaminate or shrink or something like that if it's like too cold. And we like went out there, made a bunch of stuff, took some samples for us, shipped that to the place that does the burn testing. And we actually passed it, which is kind of cool. But
that's awesome.
But like that's just like we do odd stuff. Like that was an example of someone we were working with as a customer that we scaled up a project we were working on, and then like it worked. So
that's why I'm glad I brought it up, because I mean I've seen the commercials and I was like, why wouldn't I get that? Like it seems so cool. And I've never looked at a price, but it looks awesome.
It's expensive, but it's like it's gonna last. Like we actually have a little box at work that we bring to like not industry conferences, but just like sometimes we'll go to like an automotive one and we'll say like, and we'll like talk about foam, because like that, you foam in your car too. It's like the roof liner and all that. It's like sprayed before they like put a thing up, and it's big in sound dampening. It's usually in between the engine block and the rest of the compartment, so that like it does sound and thermal for that too. So the engine heat's not in your car. Yeah, there's a block there too, and we have this little box. It's like it's 3 things. There's a hair dryer at the bottom of it. There's 3 thermometers on top, and there's 3 holes with ping pong balls in them. One of them's fiberglass. One of them, like it's like 10 inches of fiberglass, an inch and a half of spray foam, and then like 4 inches of like cellulose. You ever seen that? Yeah. They kind of like blow it into the attic. It kind of just like sits there. Then you turn the thing on, and the ping pong ball for the fiberglass and the cellulose immediately shoot up, and they're just like floating. Right. And the one with the foam is not moving at all. And then you leave it on for 2 hours, and you can see that the other 2 sides are at like 120 degrees, and the foam's at 70. So like it really does work. You get your money's worth out of it. I forget, like there's a lot of like infographics that like the industry puts out that they say like everyone should use these because like they don't like license them or anything, because they say like this is good for the industry. It's like show this to people. You can put this in your PowerPoint presentations, kind of thing, without getting like sued for it or whatever. Nice. And I forget what it is, but there's like a certain point in time where the spray foam starts paying for itself in reduced heating bills. And it's like it's not that. It's not. I think it's like 6 or 7 years or so. So it's like if you bought your forever home, it's like, and you're like redoing a room, it's like worth it. Yeah. But like if the house is already up, it's like kind of a bitch. Yeah. We do a lot of like attics and stuff like that, because like that's usually a part of the house that wasn't really finished anyway. Well, that's kind of what I assumed. Like when you don't have to rip down drywall to spray it up, and you're just removing like the fiberglass boards from like, you know, the attic, it's a lot easier to do. But they do external roofs too. And
see, now that's fascinating to me. I've never heard of.
If you ever see like those,
I definitely look into that.
It looks kind of stucco-y actually when it's done.
Oh, I imagine it looked very. Everything I'd pictured this whole conversation was very stucco-y.
And actually, that's part of the thing too. It's like they call it orange peeling, when it like has like the little dots of the orange peel. And you want it to be as smooth as possible, but that depends on like how bad the guy was at spraying the applicator and all that kind of stuff. But like we've had to switch catalyst packages for something because it was doing too much of the like orange peeling on the outside of the foam. Yeah. So it's like people will spray the outsides of like those chemical storage bins. Have you ever see those? Like those big like circular like cylinder looking things are huge.
Where would I?
I guess I drive through more industrial complexes than you do.
Sorry, I'm a city boy. I don't see too much.
But they'll do like rail cars, refrigerated like trucks and stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
Pretty much anything. Your water heater is actually a big one.
Oh,
yeah. The water heater's insulated.
Yeah. All right, cool. Let's get onward with the end of your day. When are you wrapping up normally? Again, average day. You don't have
if I get there at 9, I'm usually like 5:15. I'm like shutting things down out the door by 5:30.
Okay, and you live close, so you're not going that far. The rest of your day, just go up until about like when you go to sleep. Do you have any like sleep routines? Anything to help you get to sleep?
No, it's very sporadic. I became kind of a night owl in college because I quickly realized if anybody was around to talk to, I would talk to them. Yeah. And I lived in a fraternity house, so it wasn't very conducive. So I did pretty much all of my homework between like midnight and like 4 a.m. Mm-hmm. And I just haven't been able to kick it. So usually what I end up doing now is if I was up too late the night before, I will drive home from work. I will turn my TV on to the station that Jeopardy's going to be on. Mm-hmm. And I have one of those TVs that lets you pause it. So you get like an extra half hour. Yeah. And then I'll mute the TV and I'll take a nap till Jeopardy starts.
There you go. That's a routine.
I'll take like a nice like hour and a half nap, get up for Jeopardy, and then like I play in a cornhole league, I play in a basketball league, I play in a kickball league.
Yeah, you got all kinds of extracurriculars going on.
So usually I'll like make myself some dinner and then go to one of those things if it's happening.
No, that's fantastic, and just the whole napping thing. Like I'm fascinated with people's sleep routines.
Oh, I became like a true bi-phase sleeper, like in college. Like I definitely like sleep from like, I don't even know what that was.
I don't know either, but I killed it.
So I'll sleep from like 1 or 2 to like 8:30, and then I'll sleep again from like 5:30 to 7 or something like
I
that.
think that's a much more efficient way to do it. I wish I could do that. I'm not much of a napper, but I am a night owl.
So then you're just tired all the time. I think that makes you just an insomniac. I think.
I'm kind of not tired though. That's.
I think it still makes you an insomniac though.
A little bit.
Maybe you should do like a sleep study.
Yeah, I've heard that a lot.
I have debated that. I was like, this is like not super normal.
Yeah, there's a sleep study place where I live, and I keep telling myself I'm going to go, but everyone I know that's been there says like, "Oh, you have sleep apnea," and it's like I do not.
See, I
will not buy that device and wear it.
See, I know I don't snore because I shared a room with my brother for my entire life.
Exactly.
And anytime I went to bed sick, and you'd have like like your nose would make some noise while you're sleeping,
yeah. I
woke up and there'd be like everything that was on like his bed or around his bed is now currently on mine because he threw it at me while I was sleeping. Just like, shut the fuck up, like take this Beanie Baby to the face or something like that.
Yeah, and
so I know it's not that.
I feel the same way because that's always the case. I've never had any complaints unless I was sick, and it's like, oh well, then that was definitely.
I put that blue light filter on my phone and all that.
Too.
Is that supposed to help?
That's supposed to help. All that there's.
I found out that book reading's not a thing for me either because like I bought I have a bunch of books on my nightstand and when I read it I end up like being up till like 3 or 4 so I'm like, well, I want to know how this ends.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I have
like,
3 books on my stand that they're all equally like down. Like none of them are fully done. I just like, well, I had that one tonight and.
But like people read to fall asleep, that never works for me.
No,
like,
it's just more entertainment. It's firing off brain cells and
it's also like I've never understood people that fall asleep watching television. Because if I put on a movie, I'm finishing the movie, I'm turning the TV off, and then I'm going to bed.
Yeah, if anything like, on, I'm listening to it.
Yeah,
I'm engaged.
It's like, and if I am truly that tired, I turn the TV off and I go to like I don't I don't wake up on my couch at like 3 a.m. being like, oh shit, like
oh my god, I fell asleep.
How long have they been playing Storage Wars for? Like it's like
which episode are we on? I don't even know.
So yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that. So we like to wrap the show up, which is just some fun stuff. It's random questions. You don't have to think about it too hard.
Okay.
It's just fun stuff to keep it light. What is your ideal breakfast?
Steak and eggs with a side of like hash browns.
That is the manliest answer I've ever got. I love it. What's the best advice you ever got?
Best advice I ever got? Oh shit, I don't know.
Again, don't think about it too hard. Just whatever comes to mind.
I really don't know. Pap once told me you never put good whiskey in the freezer.
That is good advice. I get yelled at all the time by my friends for putting whiskey in the freezer.
To Pap.
I like cold whiskey. I mean, granted.
Oh, my grandma.
Shitty Canadian whiskey.
My grandma once, when we were out to like lunch somewhere, and we got a coffee, and I asked for like milk and sugar, and I started putting milk and sugar in my coffee, and my grandma looked at me and said, Billy, if you don't like coffee, don't drink it.
That's somehow insulting and great advice.
So then, since then, I have not been putting milk or sugar in my coffee. And I think if you drink enough coffee, that cuts a lot of calories out of your day.
It really does. It really does. And black coffee's fine.
I had a coworker talk to me once about. He's like, "Oh man," I was like, "I can't drink coffee, man." He's like, whenever I stop, I was like, "What do you mean?" Like he's like, "Coffee's making me fat, man." I was like, "What do you mean? Like, there's no calories in coffee." He goes, "I don't know what it is, but whenever I stop drinking coffee, I lose a bunch of weight." And then I watched him make a coffee one day, and he put like 7 sugars in like a 12-ounce coffee. I was like, "Well,
we figured
just like." I'm gonna come by his desk like a sugar cube and see if he eat out of my hand or something like that.
Here you go, bud. What movie do you think you've seen the most?
Emmett used to fall asleep to a movie every fucking night. And I think he played Talladega Nights or Dodgeball every night until the DVD player actually ceased to like function.
That seems very on brand.
I can probably line for line reproduce you like a really low quality version of either of those because they're just like so ingrained into my subconscious at this point.
That's a great answer too, because I think that's the first one we've got that wasn't your own choice. It's like, oh, I've seen this movie the most, and I didn't want to. I love it.
Oh, they're great movies.
Oh yeah, but still, not your fault.
There's something about waking up at 3 a.m. to the menu music for Talladega Nights
I think that's a very specific generational thing, and it's gonna die with our age group
because no one
up to menus
because no one does that anymore. Yeah, no one before because VHS would just
end, and now streaming will just end. There's just a brief period in time where it's like you get that menu, you get that 45 seconds of music, and it just repeats.
Do you ever like wake up in your bed and like you haven't opened your eyes yet, but you think you're in like a bed that you had earlier in your life?
Yeah.
Like every once in a while I have one of those, like I wake up and I think I'm in my childhood bed, and then like in the back of my mind is the menu music from Dodgeball like played in the background.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's golden. What's your biggest fear?
I don't want to say dying. That's too easy.
A lot of people say dying.
Biggest fear is probably that I'd say it's like two parts. That I'm not achieving my current potential.
Okay.
And that I'm too afraid to make the jump that'll get me there.
Those are great. Because, not first, but they are more specific.
Yeah, well, because like you always say, like I'm happy where I am right now, but like, could I be happier somewhere else? And am I ballsy enough to quit my job to go find that one? You know, that's like.
Am I willing to be content and stagnate? And do I have the balls to get to the next level? Any candy in the world, what do you have?
Maybe a Reese cup.
Very popular.
Do they make dark chocolate Reese cups? I feel like those would be good.
They do make dark chocolate Reese cups.
I haven't tried that, but that's my answer.
They're good. I'll give you a spoiler there. They're real good. Childhood hero.
Childhood hero. My father.
Yeah, good one. What kind of soap do you use?
Dove, sensitive skin.
Classic. If someone gave you $1,000 right now, what would you do with it?
I'd do something really stupid with my car.
Fantastic. If someone gave you $1,000, if someone gave your 18-year-old self $1,000, what would he do with it?
Probably not hookers and blow, but that would be my first thought. But I'd probably buy a car.
Yeah, there you go.
Never had a car.
Good stuff. Pet peeve in general.
Chewing with your mouth open.
I goddamn
hate that.
It is the worst.
And it's so infuriating because my mother used to always yell at us about that, and she does it now. But if you call her on it, she gets insanely pissed.
Huh? I know the feeling.
It's like, man, when did your mouth get droopier?
I could not agree more.
When my roommate chewed with his mouth open, he's awful at it. To the point, like, one time I actually just yelled at him, I hate the way that you chew. And I left the room. And then one day I got really mad at him. I went to this huge room. I was like, one day you're going to go out. You're going to go on a date. You're going to find the woman of your fucking dreams. The first date's going to go great. You're going to meet at a bar. You're going to have a couple drinks. You're going to go your separate ways. It'll be fine. The next time you're going to go to dinner. You're going to get your food. You're going to start eating fucking salad. And she's going to look at you with just death eyes because you're chewing with your mouth open the whole time. And she's just gonna leave. You're not gonna get a call back. You know it's because you opened your fucking mouth. You're eating.
You'll never know, but I'm telling you, it's because of
his girlfriend of now 3 years is worse than he is. I was like, how the hell did
they found each other?
When they like order out food, they'll be like, "Hey Billy, like, do you want to like get some with me?" I sometimes just say no because I don't want to sit at the table with the two of them. Or like I'll say, "Oh, like I'm in the middle of something. I'll just get down there later. I'll wait till them to finish and I'll go eat mine or something." It's like, it's infuriating.
Oh, I'll tell people right to their face. I'll just open my eyes for a big and be like, does that taste good? Is that good? You like that?
Looks good.
Looks good. Fucking horrible.
I think my dad says that anyone eats like sourdough pretzel, he goes, "Oh, sounds good."
Yeah, sounds good. Oh, so ugly. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
10 years. Oof. Hopefully happily retired with a steady passive income.
Oh, passive income. What a dream.
Starting real estate investment is what I'm trying. Me and a buddy just bought a house we're trying to like fix up and rent.
Yeah, that's the way to go. Tipping custom.
I usually, in my head, calculate what 20% is, and then I round either up or down to make the entire bill an even dollar amount.
I like that.
So if it's like $10.99, I'll put like 201.
Yeah.
So it comes out to like, a nice even 13.
Yeah, even it out.
Yeah, I do that.
Perfect. What's something you wish you'd learned earlier?
Wish I learned earlier. How to whistle.
How to whistle.
Yeah, I didn't learn to whistle till like 2 years ago. I like it.
Yeah, it took me a long time too. I don't know why. Weird. Childhood celebrity crush.
Childhood celebrity crush. I don't know. I don't know if I had like one in particular.
Just whatever pops.
I like Miley Cyrus.
Alright, Miley Cyrus. Not bad. Still relevant. What's one thing you'd change about yourself?
If I could be taller, that'd be nice.
Yeah, you tell me.
Because I love basketball, but man, I am so height impaired.
Mm-hmm.
It sucks because I'm 5'8", and I can do that thing where you go up for a layup and you smack the backboard.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty close to being able to actually touch the rim. If I was like just 5'11", 6 foot, like I'd get more dates, and I could dunk a basketball, which would probably also get me more dates.
Yeah. Did you see
I'd have chicks just falling off me. Like 6 foot me is like the chick magnet, like.
Did you see the Bagel Boss thing this week?
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, I mean these episodes don't come out for way after, but the Bagel Boss thing just happened, and it cracks me up.
That guy's like, oh, I looked it up because me and my roommate because my roommate's 5'6", so we're both short people. We were talking about like how like we've internally had that that go through our stream of consciousness when people call us shorts, because I grew 8 inches 1 year in high school. When I found my old records, when I started high school, I was 4'11" and 75 pounds.
Yeah.
And I left like 5'8". So like I got every short joke in the book, but I looked up. This guy was like I think 4'11" and a half,
something like that.
And the cutoff to be like an American disabled height like person is like 4'10". He's like right there. So he's like just
right in the middle.
I feel like he wishes he was an inch shorter, because then he'd get the handicap sticker. He'd actually be a protected group. Whereas right now he's just laughably short.
Yeah.
So it's not like, oh, poor him, midget's insensitive. It's like, no, he's just short.
Yeah.
It's like the worst place to be. You either want to be like like average or like really, really down there.
It's a bad spot, but that video is real funny.
Oh, I've
seen him since on like radio shows and stuff, and he has a good sense of humor.
I guess my roommate like went and found his like YouTube channel.
Does he have a YouTube channel?
Yeah, he like my roommate said that all of his videos are rants like that, but it's just him filming it later. He goes, and the woman behind the counter said to me, so you have no idea if it's like his rant is like warranted or if he's just like Napoleon the whole thing out of his mind.
He had that chambered then. That's what it seems like. That wasn't organic.
Like, that was a stump speech that he's been using for years. Like he had that in them.
Stump speech, no pun intended. So let's see. Hardest time you ever laughed?
Hardest time you ever laughed? I got my appendix removed, and I couldn't laugh because I had stitches in my body in the part that expanded and contracted when I laughed. Mm-hmm. And for some reason, everything was just hilarious for like the week after that. Great timing. Guilty pleasure.
Guilty pleasure. Sinking money into cheap cars that are just going to cost me more money in the future.
That's great. You showed me pictures earlier, but I think everybody gets what you mean. What type of music do you listen to and why?
When I was in college, I actually hosted a radio show where I was on for 2 hours every week, and I played blues rock.
Ooh, blues rock.
Because I like it.
All right.
And if you change that $1,000 question to about $1 million, I'd probably just open up a radio station.
Oh.
So I think they're sweet. I love like working all the boards, like picking all the music for the shows and all that. It was a lot of fun. I'm trying to see if the University of Delaware will let me go on air.
That'd be sweet. That's awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Emmett used to.
Oh, and I should say, because it is part of the questions I leave out all the time. What type of music do you like and why? Why?
I feel like it just.
I feel like blues music, the way like it can be done, like you feel it. Like it's hard to not foot tap to it.
Okay.
And I guess like I guess I kind of like a lot of things like that. Like jazz can be kind of cool like that. Or like you got to get up and move. I actually used to study to Irish music, and then I found out that I couldn't do it because I was just like foot tapping the whole time and kind of like tapping my pen. I was just like, I have to listen to something worse than this. Like I can't. Like I'm not concentrating anymore. So like you kind of feel it.
Okay, that's a good answer.
Like you like the blues songs when you're happy, and then when you're sad, you're like, oh shit, yeah, he's right.
Oh yeah, he gets it. What's something you're bad at?
Public speaking.
You're bad at public speaking?
I am good at faking it, but I am internally terrified.
Oh, okay.
I get really sweaty. If I ever give a speech and you're there, do not touch my back afterwards. It will be
It's going to be a sweaty mess.
Yeah.
We covered sleep routine a little bit, but do you have anything to add to that? Because you're kind of a weirdo like me.
I sleep when my body tells me to, and I'm allowed to sleep. So I push through at work if I'm tired at work, but usually it's just I fall when I fall, you know?
Yeah, that's it. You get what you get. And see,
if
not
my
a lot of
mind...
people can relate to that. There's so many people in my family that can just fall over. Just go to sleep. And
I think that happens when your first kid turns 8.
yeah.
You can just instantly fall asleep on any couch in the world.
Well, I mean,
sitting straight up.
my little brother's the same way. My 85-year-old grandpa and my 20-some-year-old brother, they can just, if they just sit in the chair, it's just like, oh, just boom, done, sleeping. It's insane to me.
But I think it's just like, at least my family specifically, when we're on, we're on. So like if we ever go to Murphy's, we leave because they kick us out.
Yeah.
Like when me, Emmett, and Mike go there, it's like we're the last ones to leave, and it's because Aunt Kathy's like, get the fuck out of the bar.
Get the fuck out.
Who drove? Hopefully it wasn't one of you two.
Yeah, you guys figured it out. Last question. If you could do anything, absolutely anything, what would it be?
I think my top bucket list item right now is I want to go see the Northern Lights.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
And if you go up, I think it's in Finland, they have this, there's like this whole like park or something like that you can rent these igloos that have glass roofs. So you're laying in the igloo, and then you can see the Northern Lights out of the top of the igloo, like while you're sleeping.
That's fucking awesome.
And that sounds pretty sick. So that's currently like what I would do right now.
I love it. That's a great answer. All right, well, thanks for doing the show, man.
No problem.
We did good. Hour 6.
That was an hour? Damn.
Hour 6 minutes, yeah.